Yeah, yeah. Well,
All right. Yeah.
not Last Charles syndrome.
Once you run off your mouth, you try back to move. Then he's never make nothing. Then he's never make nothing, and me have to tell her to do it. Error. I'm not giving her all of that. Oh, she did one give you.
Happy birthday to you.
Are you filming?
Happy birthday, dear Grandma. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
In the morning, when the moon is at its red, you will see me at the time I love the best, watching rainbows play on sunlight, pools of water, ice from cold nights in the morning. It's the morning of my life. In the daytime, I will meet you as before. You will find me waiting by the ocean floor, building castles in the shifting sand, in a world that no one understands. In the morning, it's the morning of my life.
Then he's never make nothing, and me have to tell her to do it. Error. I'm not giving her all of that. Oh, she did one give you.
In the morning of my life, the minutes take so long to drift away. Please be patient with your life. It's only morning and you still to live your day. In the evening, I will fly you to the moon.
Stephen, shut up. All right.
You're the matriarch, Mark. He's a great role model beside B. B is his strength, his guide, and they are nearly everyone's favourite couple. And Quincy B, you're amazing in our family. Even though Colin wants to think he's the centre of the attention, you guide us.
Me and man like Steve.
And we're wishing you happy 60th birthday, and long may you live a happy, peaceful, God bless life. Mrs. B by your side.
I just want to say bam bam diddling 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 dong. You can't even say the matriarch.
This is Dr. Kate from King's. We miss you, Mrs. Bell. You were such a joy to look after, always cheerful and much loved amongst all of us, staff, nurses, patients and the doctors. You instilled such happiness and gratitude and love, and we miss you greatly.
Hi everyone, this is Debbie. I feel very emotional in doing this tribute to my dear aunt, but notwithstanding, I really have to share on behalf of myself, my siblings, and my dad at this moment as we lay our dear aunt to rest. Aunt Irma, as she's affectionately known to us, was a true matriarch of her era. Memories of Aunt Irma goes way back to when we were maybe age 7. We would always hear her mom and her dad speak of Aunt Irma and her generosity towards everyone. The way, not knowing her, was nothing to us, because the way our parents spoke of her was as if she was living in our own household. We finally met when I was maybe about 8 or 9, and she did not disappoint when we met her for the first time, when we had all our faculties intact. She came to Jamaica, and it was as if it was a reunion for all us kids because of everything we would have heard about her. Forgive me, but at that age, all of us is interested in what is there for us as kids, what sweets, whatever. And Aunt Irma introduced us to England with her 2 suitcases. She was able to give every single one of us kids a gift that we could cherish, something that we could say, hey, our aunt came from England, and we were able to participate in getting sweeties, getting nice English trinkets, whatever it was. Aunt Irma made sure everyone was satisfied. As we grew, our generosity even got more and more. It was important for her to ensure that we started a life, a foundation that we can build on. As we left high school, she started to inquire of all of us, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be doing? And when we were at a juncture where we were unknown, she would always say, do something that make you proud as well as make your auntie proud. And those memories just kept echoing throughout our lives as we interact with Aunt Irma. Her dear brother, Denver, was a gem to her. And by extension, she took on his friends as her brothers as well. I remember her many trips coming to Jamaica. She would always inquire of Denver, and without Denver, you wouldn't have Seymour and Brody. And she would always have a Johnny Walker Black in her bag to ensure that her brother got his favorite drink. As the opportunities grew and she started to get more resources in life, she would try to send for her relatives in Jamaica to come and experience England. And again, my mother and my father would say, when you go to Irma's house, boy, it is just Queen style catering, food, and more food. They would always boast of Aunt Irma. Her love extended mountains. I could go on and on to speak of Aunt Irma's generosity to us. In her latter years, her last trip to Jamaica, she insisted on having a family get-together at Errol's house. And we did so. We were able to take pictures spanning 3 or I think 4 generations, and she was so happy. But God knows best as to why her chapter has ended, but her memories will live on. Walk good, our dear Auntie Irma. Thank you.
Good morning from not so sunny Los Angeles. I'm not a great orator and public speaking isn't really my forte, but you know, as I can't be there with you all in person, I had to say a few words about this amazing lady, Mum, everyone's mum, the people's mum, Queen Irma Bell. When I think about the first time that I met Mum many years ago at Relton Road, I talk about the degrees of separation. Sharon and I went to school together. We even played basketball on the same team. I met Steve at Sharon's 16th birthday party. Then I met Denise through Steve when we were all model students attending South London College in West Norwood. Steve actually wanted to ask Mum if he could have a birthday party, so he asked me to come with him. When he asked Mum, because she wouldn't shout and curse if I was there. I was petrified. And I won't bore you with the details, but the encounter wasn't what I expected or what Steve led me to believe it might be. We were introduced and we had a conversation about my parents, where they were from, the family name. I was so relieved. And it turns out that Mum was from St. Thomas in Jamaica, and so was my mum. And so over the years, we discovered mutual family and friends that were known to both families. A bond was forged. I was always at the house. Mark, unlike some people, I was actually allowed inside from day one. But we take so much for granted, nowadays. And I want to say that our childhood was very different to today's norms. But in spite of having really strict parents, I remember a lot of fun, a lot of laughter at the Bell household. The house was our haven, and I learned so much during my formative years, coming out of my shell, partying non-stop. But we still had to ensure that we conducted ourselves in the right way. And Mum saw to that. When I think back, and the first night I actually stayed out, and I wasn't allowed to really do that, but in East Dulwich, it wasn't planned. And it was just too late to go home to the country. Yes, Morden in Surrey. Back then, everyone made fun of me. I was from country. But Mum called me into her bedroom and gave me some, what I'm going to call, undergarments. Because, let's say, I don't think I'd seen anything like them. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, she was so caring and was prepared for every eventuality. It wasn't proper to not have a change of underwear with you just in case. Even when I think back, Denise, Sharon and I, also known as the 3 H's, High Pets, I think it stood for, would get ready to go out on a Saturday night. She'd want to see our outfits. And if they were too short, she would say, "You're going to catch calling her your, let's say, posterior." And she would laugh so loudly. I learned so much from observing this amazingly resilient and brilliant woman. Like so many of that generation who left their homes and loved ones in the West Indies so far away to make life in a country that was so completely alien to them. Mum was focused, caring, kind. She had integrity and was deeply funny. Her talents knew no bounds. With her cake baking skills and cooking, her resolve and determination to move the family to East Dulwich from Brixton demonstrated that she would do anything that she put her mind to. She was so kind and generous, but generous with her time. She was a great listener and would always offer a different perspective, not, just taking sides, and had an uncanny way of getting you to see the other side of things, so being really balanced. Everyone who knows her, Mum's mind was as sharp as a tack. You had no idea what Mum heard or saw, especially when she didn't want you to. So she reminded me of my dad in many ways, and I think that's why they got on so well. She moved through life with a humility and quiet confidence. She had nothing to prove. She was Mum to the masses. Now, I know I could go on, and I imagine the other tributes have a consistent theme. Mum is one of a kind. I, for one, am so blessed to have crossed paths with her and the rest of the Bell family. And I'll just finish off by saying a few lines from one of her favourite hymns, His Eyes on the Sparrow. We talked about this when I was back home in March, and I was blessed, to spend some time with her. And it goes, "Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? Why should my heart feel lonely and long for the heaven home. When Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is he. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches over me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches over me. Danny, Sonia, Claudette, Errol, Steve, Denise, Colin. On behalf of the Henry family, we are sending you so much love. Take care of yourselves, and thank you so much for sharing Mum with us and the masses. We love you, and God bless you. Amen.